Peace YouTube, this is Florboon coming to you today to discuss a new exciting topic of discussion. I probably not thought that I could talk about this for the longest time, and excuse me, and finally I get to release some information that I'm really excited about, and let's get into it. Okay, so now you guys had saw there was a lot of hoopla about a particular performance by Beyonce during halftime at the Super Bowl. I guess they felt it was, I saw the performance, it was great, but it wasn't that big a deal in my eyes, but I could see how it may have invoked some subconscious feelings in others. So let's just start there. Beyonce had a performance during halftime Super Bowl. I think it was with, there was another gentleman she performed with, but also Coldplay played also, and he had the whole rainbow theme. And Beyonce had what was attributed to be the Black Panthers antic in tribute to, the Black Panthers. And she was telling women to get information, or was it information? Anyway, I just wanted to let you know the reason why that was a big deal for our metaphysical community, especially us as women, as divine femininity is coming in. She has particularly taken a stance of jumping off board with another group of entities that herself and hubby were down with, because she's jumping on board to the new home court advantage energy type beings that are here presently, and they are the Andromedans. And they are the black female cosmonauts that we generally don't speak about, but they are here. And Beyonce was given, for her way to kind of give them pay homage to them, was to have this performance, and also Coldplay, because their symbol is the rainbow, which has been dastardized by saying that it's, quote unquote, the gay symbol is the rainbow. They did that purposefully. That's how I knew who Beyonce was trying to, who she was saluting, was the female black cosmonaut Andromedans that are here. The Andromedans are here. They've always been here, but now they are here presently because divine femininity is taken over. Home court advantage for patriarchal system is gone, and the new heads of our new consciousness have come to sweep out the old and bring in the new energies. And Beyonce's performance was to pay tribute to these new melanated female beings that are here. And again, the rainbow is the symbol that is reminiscent of the Andromedans. And obviously the black outfit with the natural hair, because they are melanated female beings. They have beautiful thick hair, either frothy hair out in froze, or it's beautifully plaited and braided. These are the Andromedans, usually dreadlocks. You'll see them a lot of time. We know that there is black female Martians, and the majority of Martians are brown people, brown entities that are probably never spoken about. But there's a colony on Mars. But there are Andromedans, and Andromedans, let's get this correct. Andromedans, there's many different types of Andromedans. That's why I have to tell you which ones I'm speaking about, and the ones that are here now starting to cleanse off for the new home court advantage of a new group, a new energy that is coming through, which is divine femininity. And it's not getting rid of divine masculinity, because divine masculinity couldn't exist in the patriarchal system either, because divine masculinity is actually in sync with divine femininity. And how you know that this new energy is coming in is it's pushing away the patriarchal, the old system of suppression of femininity, of degradation of women. You're starting to see more women feeling more empowered, and also you're starting to see more melanated women, women of color, coming out and becoming more naturalistic, more holistic. Because the first home court advantage ever on this planet was run by female brown women that were androgynous, and we talked about women that were able to give birth through the process of parthenogenesis. And lately in the news have been talking about, particularly there was one story, actually two, but one story of a hermaphrodite, and she's a female looking. Remember, the original female that used to exist on the planet was androgynous. She was both. She was capable. She was male and female in one before she was split. And she just gave birth to two beautiful hermaphrodite babies. She impregnated herself without her knowing. And this was in the Philippines. I'm going to find the link and I'll just put it in there, which I found is interesting because at this particular time, this has been happening, you know, sporadically, but now it's becoming known. And also there was a Nigerian woman who said that she was going to, you know, she was a young girl, she was impregnated, and she had some sort of sight that she's supposed to give birth to Jesus Christ or something like that. A little bit of a religious connotation to it, but her hymen was intact, and she's impregnated herself, and I'm not sure if she gave birth, but I'm gonna put that connection. A homegirl, oh, my homegirl's calling. I'm gonna have to call her back. Sorry about that. So anyway, so we have this new energetic divine femininity coming in. The Adromedans are here in the forefront now. They've always been here. They're usually the ones who stay in the backdrop getting intel on things, because we were in the old system, a patriarchal system. They just laid in the backdrop because, remember, every cycle happens for a reason and it comes at a particular time. Now this new energy is coming through, and you can see it with the women of color and all women, but particularly because the ones who most suppressed are the ones who are going to be having home court advantage in this new cycle. A lot of us contactees have been contacted by the Andromedans. I have one particular contact. Peace, I'm not going to name you. I was going to just say your name, but you know, I could. I'm on her show a lot, but anyway, she has had some contact with the Andromedans this past weekend, along with myself, and I was wondering why all of a sudden we're getting a lot of us contactees, us brown women contactee, are getting a lot of heavy contact with the Andromedans. It's because they're coming into the forefront, and that's why it's so big a deal that I make this video about the Andromedans. I mean, I've been feeling invoked to make more videos encouraging us to be more naturalistic, more holistic, talking about us moving away from a system of tyranny and war and the patriarchal system. Though I'm a hyper female, I love male energy. I do, and you guys know that. It can just be disheartening because if the male energy is out of sync, it can just be warlike all the time, and it'll drive women batty, men too. So the Adromedans are here. Now you're saying to yourself, why are the Andromedans here at this time? Again, we've ended a cycle, we're at a new cycle, and because they're reminiscent of the original zygote, the original females that resided here on the planet before inception, they are here to set up shop, to kind of realign us to that more holistic type of world, more balanced. So the Andromedans are here. They've been here, but they're out in the forefront. They've allotted me to make this video. I'm excited by that. I'm excited to now talk about some of the interactions that some of us are having with the Andromedans, with the Andromedan Council, and to see how this plays out. And this is wonderful for all you sea stars out there who have felt I always get the helicopters that come weirdest times, who felt hampered by that old system. Now you're freed up. Even though you may still psychologically have those shackles on your consciousness, release them. They're gone. There is zero holding you back now. The new energies are coming in. The Galactic Seastars are here to assist us with moving forward and raising our vibration. We are in the beginning stages of the pole shift. You're starting to see people shift off to the planet. Many, you know, one of my master teachers had passed, Delbert Blair, which was very hard for me. Even though I know his transition is purely just the physical leaving the shell, which his shell was, you know, it was tired. He had done a lot of, he was really a pioneer, especially for brown people who were looking for answers to their connection to the galactic, to our galactic family. And he was absolutely one of my, one of the reasons why I came out publicly, and how I evolved was via coming through and being assisted by Dr. Delbert Blair. But he passed a couple weeks ago, and he's made his transition to the other side. And again, he had contact with many of the different galactic beings. He was a contactee, and he let it be known that there were many different races here assisting their starseeds transition to basically change the consciousness and raise up at the time of ascension. So we're at the beginning stages of the pole shift. And also what I learned is that I used to always think to myself, oh my God, I would meet some conscious person, another contactee, be like, oh my God, why don't you live right next to me? I wish you just lived here. And now I realize that we were purposefully set on different parts of the ley line of the planet. Each of the 1,400, the 144,000 that are supposed to be the ones that invoke the actual pole shift to happen, the actual ascension process when we go into the golden age. When that 144,000 all wake up over, and I always say it's over, like once over 60% of us really just shoot up in consciousness, that's when we do the full-on pole shift, like physical pole shift of the planet, but it shoots us into the golden age. So we're rising, many of us are rising, and yes, I am one of the 144,000. And I am also, which I'll tell you, is I am an elemental. So many of you would always ask me questions like, what are you? What are you? How do you get all this information? I can give you a little bit about myself. I am an elemental, and that is also why, you know, why you can understand now why I'm very nature-based. I'm very highly connected to the trees. They are my family, and I am connected to all the indigenous plants and animals on this particular planet. I am a manifestation of our planet Terra herself. So I really am in sync with her, and I'm in alignment with making sure that her ascension process goes smoothly, along with all those indigenous that were here and are going through the process of ascension themselves. So anyway, so the 144 are going to be invoked. We will initiate the pole shift. But oh, I go on tangents, I tell you, boy. The reason why we're set apart is we were particularly seated. Each of the 144,000 were seated on particular parts of the ley line of the planet. And as we wake up, we shoot up, and our energetic field kind of goes like this, and it creates almost like branches, and it connects out like that. And then for the other person who's shooting up in consciousness, it will connect to them. So what it's doing is it's going to build an energetic grid that will eventually, once we're over 60% or more, once we wake up and we all interconnect with each other on each ley line on the planet, we just, boom, propel ourselves upward to the new earth, like permeate into another dimension, enter that golden age, but also we propel the planet to go through the full physical pole shift. Because remember, we're going through a pole shift energetically, and as inside we we manifest it on the outside. You know, in spirituality, first something happens in spirit, then it happens on the physical. So whatever's invoked in us, we kind of propel it. We're going to manifest it, and it will show up in the environment. So I'm so excited. I wanted to talk about these brown women for Galactic Seastars for so long, and I haven't been allotted to. And right now I've gotten the okay, and it's kind of exciting. And this is a wonderful thing for us women right now, for men too, because this will free you up from from our madness that we create with you gentlemen too, because, you know, if we're not healthy, we create hell for the males around us, you know. So this will allow for us to free ourselves up consciously, spiritually, physically, and heal ourselves, thus healing our families, our children, and our environment. So guys, the Andromedans are here in front stage, and yes, Beyoncé has jumped ship with her husband because they were originally down with the Illuminatis, and because the Illuminatis are no longer in power, they have decided to jump ship advantageously to the other side. But no worries, the planet overstands this, and so do our galactic sisters. If you've been down with some entities and some societies that were harmful to the planet initially, you can't escape karma. So though we are benefiting from such a wonderful tribute that she did, because that is kind of like a spell, it was kind of like a ritual that you saw on the Super Bowl that was to invoke women, especially women of color. It was to invoke, and also it was paying tribute to those Andromedans, those beautiful sea stars, galactic sea stars that are here. You can make tributes all you want, but you're gonna have to do more than that. So I'm happy that she did. I don't want to criticize anything about it. I think it doesn't matter what her motivation was. It was for our benefit. So, you know, a lot of people like to pick it apart and say, oh, she did this and she's only doing it for this reason. It doesn't matter. If it's benefiting you and yours, by all means, let her do it. I think we can't nitpick everything. Okay, so the Andromedans are here, people. The melanated female cosmonauts are here. They're visiting many of you. Many of you out there, a lot of my beautiful sea stars, you're getting visitations and contact. You're getting invoked telepathically by our galactic sisters, and let that come through. Follow your first mind. If you're being motivated to exercise more, do so. If you're being motivated to get rid of parasitic vampire people, do so. If you're being motivated to take classes in holistic living or herbalist or becoming an herbalist, do so. You're getting this invocation because our sea stars are here, and they're allowing those energies to permeate through each and every one of us. And that's for white supremacy and all that other madness and patriarchal systems. It's done. And that's also why you're seeing the dark cabal and the Illuminatis promote for others to mate with the melanated people, because at this particular time, with the second and third sun now coming in with those energies, that's also why they're putting chemtrails back and forth, is to make it more cohesive for those who can't live under the sun. Thus the sun in the background. A lot of you make a lot of comments about the sun I have in the background. If it bothers you, it's usually because you're not going to be able to live under the sun. This is a beautiful decoration that I have up, and it's reminiscent of the beautiful sun that brings us life, information, information. Get that? That we need at this particular time to be able to make it to the next stage and to ascend, if that is what your soul is motivated, if you have a soul to motivate it to do. But not many of you will be able to live under the sun, and that's why many of you are being encouraged, if you're non-melanated, to mate and to extend your bloodline into a melanated person, because the surface of the planet, there's not going to be anybody who will be able to exist after the pole shifts on the surface of the planet without melanin. No child. So many will be underground if they're unable to, and that's only if you're allotted and chosen by those, those others. and they've already, if you've not gotten that call or you've not gotten the FYI on where you're going underground, you're not going. So I just suggest you drink a lot of chlorophyll, take care of your health, build up your melanin. However, by dancing invokes melanin, eating things that are highly green. What else? You know, having sex with melanated people, because we share cells, and part of sharing the cells is that when you have sexual contact with someone of another race, you share some of that DNA with them. So, you know, I know I'm going to get a lot of hits on this from my brown people, because a lot of the brown men don't like hearing brown women having any sexual contact with males that are not brown. You know, you guys get a little hostile with us, even though you guys can do it. But that's how you're going to be able to survive what's going ahead. But it doesn't matter, because if you have a soul, you're everlasting anyway. So even if your shell can't make it, you'll go to the new age if you're higher in consciousness, and hopefully you won't have to be recycled in this after our pole shift. So our pole shift is here. We're in the beginning. Like I said, many people are passing away and transitioning. A lot. And you know, Delbert Blair used to talk about this. But anyway, so for all those having weird situations where they're seeing black women in their sleep that are talking to them that look mystical and so on, chances are it's the Andromedans that are coming to talk to you and to motivate you to do things that will be in alignment with the new shift and the new head of household. It's exciting. I'm really excited to make this video. I know for some it'll be like, oh God, not another melanated ET video, but there's a reason why I came out when I did. And I've wanted to talk about these young ladies for a while. And they are particularly many of our ancestors. And again, work with the divine femininity, because if you're working against her, all it's going to do is hurt you in the end. So the Andromedans are here. And again, my next couple videos, I'm going to make some interviews with some reptilian males, so to speak. I have one. I didn't forget about you. I just read my email. I'm going to do an interview with one gentleman who is a proclaimed reptilian, and we're going to have a conversation, and you guys get to see that and kiki and put your information, you know, and talk about it. And then I have another person that I know who has had contact, who I believe is a reptilian bloodline, and he has agreed to have an interview with me. So give me a couple weeks, guys. You know, once I go into Matrix, it's hard for me to get out, and it takes me a while to make videos sometimes. But, you know, when I get into it, I get into it. But anyway, have a conversation. Do any of you having contact with these melanated women in your sleep? Are you waking up remembering women that are like dreadies? Because a lot of them have dreadlocks, or they have really, really beautiful coiled hair. They have, the eyes, like I talk about, like them. And listen, I made the insectilian video. I know those are contacts, guys. You know, the last video I made about, Kim Kardashian and Amber Rose. I know those are contacts. I was just showing that there's a reason why they're mimicking something. And these women are very reminiscent of those insectilians that have those pheromones. I'm calling those two out. Beyoncé, I don't think, is an insectilian at all. She does not have that sexual invocation. She's attractive and she's beautiful, and because she's so talented and physically beautiful, people would say she's something else, and I believe she could be something else, but I totally don't think she's an insectoid. Insectoids are totally sexually, insectilian hybrid queens are totally hypersexualized beings. They just have no other focus. There's no other focus with them. It's not like they're super talented. What talent does Amber Rose have, other than being absolutely salacious? She's beautiful. What talent does Kim Kardashian has? You've seen some of that talent on some of those porn tapes. So I'm just saying, that's a totally different being, and they're strategically putting them next to celebrities that they want to keep under mind control and political figures. That's totally different than someone like her. And really, Jay-Z is married to Beyonce. I personally don't even think he's from our timeline. that's a whole nother conversation. But anyway, I gotta go. I'm supposed to talk about robotoids and syntheticas because they're all over. I'm gonna try to get to that. I'm not gonna do it this weekend because I have some other things to do, and because the Andromedans are here, I have so much on my plate to talk about, research, and really see what direction they're going into, so I can share more, because now they're out and open. And I think this is one of the first videos that really talks about, there's another gentleman who talks about the Andromedans, the melanated Andromedans, the women of color that are here. Nobody ever talks about them because we're not allowed to, but now we've gotten the okay. So let me know what you think about the Andromedans, and any of you having a visitation. And did you know that these black female beings, galactic beings, were here? Did you even know they existed? So let's get into that, and we'll have another conversation. All right, I love you. Behave yourselves, have a good conversation, and we'll talk. Peace.